Have you ever wondered what life was like for a gladiator outside the Colosseum's bloody arena? As the dust settled in the Colosseum and the roars of the crowd faded, the life of a gladiator extended far beyond the spectacle of battle. Gladiators, these warriors of the arena, were a complex blend of slave, prisoner, and celebrity. Their roles in Roman society were as multifaceted as the amphitheaters they fought in. The origins of these gladiators can be traced back to the Etruscan civilization, where they were initially part of funeral rites. These rites often involved slaves or prisoners fighting to the death to accompany their masters to the afterlife. However, this somber origin evolved into a form of popular entertainment by the time it reached Rome. In Rome, the gladiatorial games became a spectacle, a display of bravery, skill, and endurance. But who were these gladiators who risked their lives for the amusement of the masses? Many were indeed slaves or prisoners condemned to a life of violent combat, yet not all were forced into this brutal existence. Some were free men, drawn to the profession by the allure of fame and fortune. These free men saw the gladiatorial games as a path to glory, a chance to rise above their station. For them, the risk of death was overshadowed by the potential for honor and adulation. The victorious gladiator was a revered figure, a symbol of Roman virtue, and a hero to the masses. But regardless of how they came to the arena, all gladiators were bound by the same realities. Their lives were dictated by rigorous training and strict discipline. They were both heroes and captives, celebrated by the same society that held their chains. As we peel back the layers of history, we find that the gladiator's tale is not merely one of blood and battle, but a story of society, status, and the human struggle for survival and glory. In the next scene, we delve deeper into the rigorous training and strict discipline that dictated the life of a gladiator. How does one become a gladiator? What did it take to survive in the brutal world of gladiatorial combat? The making of a gladiator was a process as rigorous as it was transformative. A gladiator's training was about more than just combat skills. It was about developing the physical strength to withstand grueling fights, the mental resilience to stare death in the face, and the discipline to adhere to a strict regimen of diet and exercise. A day in the life of a budding gladiator began at dawn. Training was intense, often under the scorching sun, and involved various forms of combat, weapons practice, and physical conditioning. Gladiators trained in specially designed schools known as ludi. These schools were run by a lanista, a trainer who was often a former gladiator himself. The types of gladiators were as varied as the weapons they wielded. There were the murmillos, armed with a gladius, a large shield, and a fish-like helmet. Retiarius's gladiators, on the other hand, were lightly armored, equipped with a trident and a net, relying on speed and agility. The Thracians fought with a small square shield and a curved sword, resembling the weapons of the Thracians. The diet of a gladiator was surprisingly healthy, rich in carbohydrates and proteins, primarily consisting of barley, beans, oatmeal, and dried fruit. This was to build stamina and maintain a layer of fat, which could protect them from shallow cuts during fights. Medical care was an integral part of a gladiator's life. Gladiators were valuable assets, and their owners went to great lengths to ensure their fitness. Physicians, often slaves themselves, had a deep understanding of anatomy and used a variety of treatments, from sutures and bandages to complex surgeries to keep gladiators in fighting condition. The making of a gladiator was a journey of resilience and courage, a testament to the human spirit's indomitable will to survive against all odds. Now that we know how gladiators were made, let's explore their lives outside the arena in the next scene. Despite the danger and brutality of their profession, could a gladiator rise above his station and become a hero? This is a question that has fascinated historians and enthusiasts alike. In the heart of the Roman society, gladiators were seen through a complex lens. On one hand, they were viewed as the lowest of the low, slaves bound by chains of servitude, their lives spent in the pursuit of survival. On the other hand, they were the superstars of their time, their names chanted in the ferocious roar of the Colosseum crowd. Some gladiators, like the famed Spartacus, achieved a legendary status that transcended the sands of the arena. Spartacus, a Thracian gladiator, led a slave revolt that threatened the very foundations of Rome. His story is a testament to the extraordinary fame and influence that a gladiator could attain. But the life of a gladiator was not all glory and triumph. The average life expectancy of a gladiator was brutally short. For many, their fame was fleeting, their lives cut short by the very profession that brought them adoration. And despite their popularity, they were often viewed with a societal stigma. They were, after all, slaves and criminals, their lives valued less than those of the free citizens of Rome. Yet, in this life of blood and sand, there was a glimmer of hope. A gladiator who survived long enough, who won enough battles, could earn his freedom. This was the ultimate prize, the gladiator's dream. The rudis, a wooden sword, was a symbol of this freedom, a tangible reminder of the gladiator's victory over not just his opponent, but his own fate. The allure of fame, the promise of freedom, and the thrill of the fight drew many to this perilous profession. Some were forced into it while others chose it, drawn by the chance to rise above their station, to become more than just a slave, but a hero in the eyes of Rome. As we can see, the life of a gladiator was a paradox of fame and servitude, glory and danger. The gladiatorial games were a staple of Roman culture for centuries, but how and why did they come to an end? Ponder that for a moment. The decline and eventual abolition of the gladiatorial games were influenced by various factors. One significant influence was a shift in societal views. The once thrilling spectacle of gladiatorial combat began to lose its luster as public sentiment evolved. The games were increasingly viewed as brutal and uncivilized. Then, there were the economic factors. Maintaining the games was a costly affair. Feeding, training, and housing gladiators, not to mention the grandeur of the events themselves, put a strain on the empire's resources. But perhaps the most impactful change was the rise of Christianity. As this new religion spread across the empire, its teachings of peace and the sanctity of life clashed with the violent nature of the games. The legacy of the gladiators, however, lives on. Their stories continue to captivate us, serving as a reminder of a time when courage, strength, and skill could elevate the lowest of slaves to the status of a hero.